Welcome to Keentel Engineering. Today we're breaking down CAISO's Interconnection Process Enhancements 5.0, what changed, why it matters, and what developers and load-serving entities need to do right now. IPE 5.0 was approved by the CAISO Board of Governors on March 5, 2026, and is effective for Cluster 16, which opens October 1, 2026. IPE 2023 made sweeping changes to CAISO's interconnection procedures, all approved by FERC without modification or dissent. Track 2 reduced Cluster 15 to a manageable volume aligned with 15-year resource needs. CAISO committed to monitoring the process and returning to address friction points. The Cluster 15 intake results from June 2025 and a FERC informational report from July 2025 directly informed IPE 5.0. The goal: remove friction, accelerate viable resource onboarding, and have the process ready for Cluster 16. 2 intake changes. First, the non-LSE affidavit. The 25-point commercial interest award previously required a non-LSE affidavit specifically citing corporate sustainability goals. IPE 5.0 removes that requirement. The affidavit now only needs to attest to the project's value to the organization. The 25-point award, the 1 project per cluster limit, and CAISO's scrutiny of every affidavit remain unchanged. This opens the door for data centers and industrial operators with economic, not just sustainability, motivations. Second, commercial readiness deposit timing. Previously due by the close of the interconnection request window, even for projects that never advance. Under IPE 5.0, it's due only after scoring and ranking succeeds by the close of the customer engagement window. Projects that rank out incur no deposit cost. 2 more intake changes. The full allocation election cap is revised to the lesser of 50% of the LSE's forecasted RA load share, or 500 megawatts, calibrated to the 95th percentile of projects that have reached commercial operation. Small LSEs can now support projects larger than their raw allocation. Large LSEs are capped at 500 megawatts. Energy-only projects face no cap. Also new, WDAT distribution projects must now compete in cluster intake scoring. Starting with Cluster 16, any distribution project seeking deliverability must submit intake scores through GRIP during the open window. Same as transmission-level projects. No TPD at the point of delivery means no study path and treatment as energy-only. WDAT projects are included in the DFAX tiebreaker. The auction process applies if ties persist. A significant change: operational energy. Only projects can now seek deliverability. Prior rules prohibited energy-only projects from ever obtaining TPD. Multiple stakeholders pushed for change, citing projected RA supply gaps in 2029 and 2030. CAISO's solution: energy-only projects from Cluster 15 and later that have reached commercial operation may now seek TPD through the Commercial Operation Allocation Group, previously limited to Cluster 14 and earlier. 4 eligibility requirements: in commercial operation at the affidavit submission date, executed a procurement agreement with an RA obligated LSE. That contract must require the project to seek TPD, and it must procure RA eligible capacity for 5 or more years. Projects behind a local deliverability constraint are not eligible. 2 queue management changes. First, commercial viability criteria, CVC, are extended to all projects, including energy only, when requesting COD extensions beyond 7 years. Projects failing CVC will be withdrawn from the queue entirely, no longer converted to energy only. That conversion pathway is gone. A proposed 3-year cumulative COD extension limit was removed after stakeholder pushback. CVC now triggers only when the interconnection customer itself requests an extension. Second, the pre-application process is discontinued. CAISO processed 163 pre-application reports between 2017 and 2023. At most 11% resulted in an actual interconnection filing. The process is replaced by TPD heat maps, redacted study reports, and constraint mapping workbooks. 8 items were considered but not adopted. LSE point allocation transparency, CPUC is already monitoring it. Points based on requested ISC. Only 14 projects benefit, too little gain. Long lead time system need eligibility. Handled in Track 3. Deferring deliverability for long lead time resources. No stakeholder consensus. Deliverability reservations for long lead time upgrades. Addressed in Track 3. GIA timing versus TPD allocation. Conflicts with FER. See Order 2023. Searchable network upgrade data. Administrative improvement, no tariff change needed. Energy-only caps based on short-circuit headroom, acknowledged as valuable, deferred to a future IPEE phase. 4 audiences. Transmission developers. Start Cluster 16 scoring strategy now. System need points, long lead time eligibility, LSE commercial interest engagement. Identify LSEs whose load share aligns with your project size. WDAT and distribution developers, check TPD availability at your point of delivery first. No TPD means no deliverability path. Engage your PTO now to confirm eligibility and build a competitive scoring strategy. Cluster 14 and earlier. Energy-only owners. Confirm commercial operation status relative to the 2027 affidavit due date. If your COD is 2028 or later, begin executing RA procurement agreements now. Load-serving entities. Review RA portfolio gaps for 2029 and 2030. The commercial operation pathway for Cluster 15 and later energy-only projects may add deliverable capacity. Ensure procurement agreements require TPD and at least 5 years of RA procurement. My Cluster 15. Energy-only project. Can it now seek deliverability? Yes. After commercial operation, through the Commercial Operation Allocation Group, requires a 5-year RA agreement. Projects behind a local constraint are not eligible. My project's COD is beyond 7 years. Will it be automatically withdrawn? No. CVC triggers only when you request a future extension. Failing CVC means withdrawal, not conversion to energy only. We're a small LSE with limited points. How does the new cap help? The 50% of forecasted RA load share criterion lets you support projects larger than your raw allocation, a gain for municipal utilities and CCAs. We're a WDAT developer seeking deliverability in Cluster 16. What changes? Confirm TPD availability at your delivery point, verify WDAT eligibility under the PTO's tariff, and build a scoring strategy. You now compete with transmission-level projects. How does the new deposit timing affect planning? The commercial readiness deposit is due by close of the customer engagement window, only if your project advances through scoring. Can a Cluster 14 or earlier energy-only project seek TPD in 2027 without a PPA? Yes, one-time accommodation for 2027. Beginning in 2028, a 5-year RA agreement is required for all projects. Our COD extension was caused by PTO delays. Does this trigger CVC? No. If issued through a PTO COD update report, it does not require a modification request and does not trigger CVC. We're a non-LSE off-taker. Do we still need to cite sustainability? No. IPE 5.0 removes the sustainability requirement. Your affidavit needs only to attest to the project's value to your organization. How does IPE 5.0 address short-term R? A supply flexibility, only indirectly. CAISO acknowledged the concern about the 5-year requirement but did not modify it. This tension will resurface in a future IPE. What is the WEM governing body's role? None. IPE 5.0 applies exclusively to the CAISO-controlled grid. The decision rests solely with the CAISO Board of Governors. For a tighter 30 seconds, trim to CAISO's cluster. 16 window opens October 2026, and IPE 5.0 changes everything. WDAT projects now compete head-to-head with transmission-level projects in intake scoring, stagnant energy, only projects face withdrawal, and operational projects from Cluster 15 and later can finally seek deliverability with the right PPA. At Keentel Engineering, we help developers and LSEs build competitive Cluster 16 strategies before the window closes. Visit KeentelEngineering.com.